Good day, folks. This is Marlon again here with the interview series with some of the stakeholders that are active in esports in Africa. And today we're with Emmanuel Oyelekin over in Nigeria. Emmanuel, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Marlon. Hello, everyone. It's my great privilege to be here to speak with you about esports in Africa and Nigeria, with Marlon taking the lead in this conversation. Thank you.
So we're going to keep it real loose. We want to talk. First of all, we'll start with the basics. Tell us your name, the organization that you have in Nigeria, and some of the things that you've been sort of top of mind as you organize and develop esports in Nigeria.
I know I started playing video in 1991. That's a long time. And I haven't looked back ever since. I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria, where I, along with the communities, in Lagos, in Nigeria, video games have been played for decades in Africa, and so the gaming culture has always been there. Recently, mobile gaming, but we realized that there wasn't that inclusiveness. Africa wasn't really included in global esports. America, in Europe, in Southeast Asia, in South America, nobody ever talked about Africa, and we were hoping for a long time that someone somewhere would remember Africa, but no one ever did. We went on a campaign to kind of draw attention to Africa, but no one looked at us. And so we started our esports initiatives, to ensure that we could see an opportunity too much, and led to a few options that I have worked with others to found. The collective of esports brands, teams, organizations, and other stakeholders here in Nigeria. I also founded a private esports organization called League of Extraordinary Gamers, LXG Esports for short. And aside that, I also came together with several of our friends across Africa who are leaders, in sports in their different countries. We came together to form like a fraternity that later a mental body called the Esports Federation of Africa, ESFA. And as of today, we have over 30 African countries who are members of that organization. And just yesterday, I took my oath of office as the chairman of the Lagos State Esports Association. This is the first of its kind in this part of the world where a government, as big as that of Lagos, and to give you some context, Lagos is the largest economy in Africa. So if Lagos were to be a country, it would be the fifth largest economy in Africa. And so that's the Lagos we're talking about. Lagos is the center of excellence with a population of over 20 million people. And just yesterday, the government of Lagos, very progressive and youth-centered, founded an association for esports, and I am very privileged to be. That's a call to create and establish a thriving who are raring to go, looking to make their mark on the esports scene. And so this platform gives us an opportunity to be able to actualize those dreams and the goals that these young people have. So I would say I have my hands full with quite a lot that is there to achieve.
How much of what you will be doing with them will be involved in finding ways to improve technical infrastructure?
I play video games also, so I feel the pain that every gamer in Nigeria feels. I feel every single pain, ranging from power to the internet, to having to play with a lot of lag and latency. I feel every single pain. This gives me a very good opportunity to be able to address these concerns. In Africa, there's still a lot of reliance on government, even though the private sector is coming on strong and taking on a lot of initiatives. But still, I mean, the government is still key. One single policy from the government and whatever plans you probably have, blessed to have a government that is enacting policies that are actually helping to create a thriving environment, for everybody in Lagos, gaming community inclusive. And so knowing where the pain is, understanding the pain points, of gamers, I actually plan to address them. You may think it's a selfish thing I want to do because I know that at the end of the day, I personally will benefit from those changes as a gamer myself, but also the larger community, the millions of gamers also will, benefit from that. I've been very humbled with the responses I've been getting from the gaming community in Lagos, them saying, please lead us well, help us do this, do that. It's really humbling, and it's actually helping me to also determine to make sure that I make a mark and that I bring a solution for the millions of gamers in Lagos. So talking about the specific challenges, power is one of them, and to be honest, there isn't much we can do about that. The power situation is improving, even though there's still, we're not there exactly, but in the meantime there are ways to mitigate against power outages. Get a UPS, get your solar power, alternative energy, and all of those. That's, I'll just leave that there. Yes. Because there isn't much one can do. But talking about the internet, one of the critical things I'll be doing with the board of the Lagos State Esports Association is engaging telcos. Telcos are critical stakeholders, especially these days that the pandemic is out there and people are gaming online. Mm-hmm. The telcos have almost become like the air that we breathe. For the esports community, they're actually the air. Right. Because we need to connect to servers, in other countries, and you can only achieve that online. So we need to get to the point where we have very good high quality internet, and not just high quality, affordable internet. Affordability is also something we will look at. So we will work to ensure that the telcos, are able to provide plans for gamers or the online community. And guess what? We have a huge online community. I saw a news report from 2018 or 2019, I think, saying that there are about 134 million Nigerians that are online. That's those who have a device and they have data on their device and they're online doing different things. So it doesn't have to be gaming, but they're online. And so we already have that culture too. And so what we'll now look to do is to create a proper package for gamers in Lagos State. I know that people from outside of Lagos will also benefit, and that's also our joy. We're happy to do that, from engaging these telcos for them to realize that there's a lot of livelihood that we can create from online gaming. Mm-hmm. We have thousands of content creators who are afraid of going online because the longer time they spend online, streaming their content, they are checking their data. They keep getting those notifications. Okay, you're now at 50% usage of your data. You're at 75. So there is that panic and they want to quickly get off, but we want them to be able to comfortably, go online, stream for hours, get your content to thousands of eyeballs, let them see what you're doing. Brands will appreciate you. They know that you have a strong following and they can come to sponsor your stream. And before you know it, we have created a totally new industry. We have created thousands of jobs. People can become full-time streamers. People can become content creators, And so these, we believe, will help to engage our young people, open up the industry and create opportunities, and not just for individuals. We also believe that esports can actually add to the economy of Lagos State and Nigeria as a whole. So there's a whole lot that we are going to be doing with the stakeholders in the esports industry in this part of the world.
Well, I think two questions that come to mind out of what you just talked about. Number one, is it a matter really just of the telcos coming on board to help with data charges and so on and so forth? Or are there some sort of infrastructure technical issues still outstanding with them that prevents the kind of connections that would make our gamers more competitive in the international scene?
The honest truth is you can get the best internet connection, for it to be able to game online. It's just that it is not affordable. They're quite expensive. I was in Morocco in 2019, and I saw 100 Mbps, in the hotel where I lodged. I went for an esports event in Casablanca, and at the event also, the gamers were playing on 100 Mbps. I thought that was quite, impressive. And so we had some challenges in the sense that people that were coming from outside of that environment, who were used to playing, with speed, they had problems, challenges playing, because where they're coming from, if you wanted to carry out to give a command to your character, you would have to click earlier because of the time lag. Sure. You had to click earlier. And so they got to a place where it was 100 Mbps where you could click. So they were giving their command here, and it was boomeranging, it was working against them, So we also should get used to that. And like I said, those data speeds are available. They are just, so expensive, but we will work with the telcos. So you talked about the technicality, how competent they are, how capable they are. They are very competent and capable. Like I said, we already have an online community. Mobile data is virtually everywhere. There's a lot of competition between our telcos, and so data prices keep crashing every now and then. So everybody's able to afford, good quality data. But we just need them to be a lot more affordable, and also we need to increase the speed. Let's get those high quality data speeds at very good rates. For me, I think with the millions of people that we have in Nigeria, we are a country of over 200 million people. I believe that volume subscription, would help. You're getting that high quality data internet, and at the same time you're paying, something affordable. But when you look at the fact that millions of people are able to do this, it helps with the bottom line of those businesses rather than them making it available for just a few people who are able to afford it. That's my take.
Right. Well, and then that gets us to my follow-up and question that came out of your first answer. As you know, the market, the esports industry is really driven by the brands, the large consumer brands that have recognized the superior engagement activity that goes on within the esports community, with fans following and liking and sometimes, and a lot of times, particularly in the West and in Southeast Asia and in Europe, actually spending money with these streamers. And I noticed that in particular in Ghana, for instance, a number of the larger streamers with larger audiences, and the YouTubers, those audiences are coming from the sort of international community. Is this the part of what will make the future of African esports appealing to the international community, which brings in, as you mentioned before, income, which is foreign exchange, actually? Is this a big part of the plans, or is that what will make it feasible for African gamers?
Well, that's a reality, and like I said earlier on, people don't want to stay too long online, in this part of the world because of the cost of data. You don't want to stay too long on the stream, but the reality is that people in developed countries where the internet is more readily available and cheaper, or where it is not cheaper, they have better jobs, and able to afford, the data. So there's a tendency to have a lot more viewership from outside of this region. And it's part of what we're saying. We want our people here to be comfortable with streaming. not just streaming, but to also go online to watch a stream.
Sure.
So if somebody's running the stream for 2-3 hours, you don't want to do 30 minutes and run away because your data is draining.
Right.
But to have good data at a good rate, you'll be comfortable sitting down for as long as possible, as long as your audience, wants it and what is advisable, because you don't want to stay, endlessly on your stream. Also, you need to also consider your health, and make sure that you do everything in moderation. So it's part of the challenges, and we will work with the relevant stakeholders to ensure that as much as possible we take away this challenge, of people not being able to stay online to do stuff.
Again, some of the principle, the pillars of the esports industry. We talked about the technical issues, and it's sort of what we're hearing that I think I recently heard about a cable that's gone from Nigeria straight over to Europe. They're supposed to have increased, the speeds and put us on par with what's happening there. And the other pillar would be the consumer market itself, right? That depends on a consumer audience of people who consume entertainment. And we talked a bit about the data implications of that, consuming entertainment off the internet. But be that as it may, people are still getting some entertainment off the internet, whether it's 10 minutes or, two in 10-minute chunks or not. But the other issue for brands is this whole consumer kind of culture of people. And how are you handling that aspect of the advocacy work that you're going to be doing as a government leader now in esports?
Government is government in this part of the world, and people want to listen to you this time. Some will even bring their proposals to you to show you, oh, this is what we have and stuff, So I will imagine that the conversations will be a lot more faster and smoother and a lot more effective this time, and for us, we will not hold back millions of people. That is what now makes me go to bed late and wake up really early, because there's a lot of challenges that we need to, try to fix. Help these young people actualize their dreams. Many people have asked me what my motivation for going into esports is. My forte is quite all right, so I'm not like a pro gamer per se, but I see a lot of young people out there who play video games, but they just play it and they get nothing in return. So what we're trying to do is to also bring them as much as possible at par with what is obtainable in other parts of the world. Because every single day to go out there to look at how we can make their lives easier. How can we create an ecosystem, a thriving one, a conducive one, where somebody can wake up and say, okay, you know what, I want to be a streamer, I want to be a gamer. Just yesterday, a young man sent me a DM on Twitter to say that he wanted to be an esports writer. And I said, oh, wow, beautiful, good job. So there are dreams, there are aspirations, there are desires, there are objectives. People are out there saying, I want to be in esports, but I want to be in this part of esports. I want to do this, so those are some of the things that we will be doing. Awareness is very critical. So aside the telcos that we're talking to, trying to bring them into esports, there's also the part of the awareness where you need to make the general public, know what your programs are and what benefits are there. In one of the events that I did last year with my private organization, we had parents who actually came out to root for their kids playing video games. And that for me was the first. And I must say I was impressed. A father was on YouTube chatting and encouraging his son, while a mom also, her son came back home late and the team leader wrote her to apologize for the boy coming back home late. But she said, no, it's okay. I know this is his passion. We support him, So that awareness is building. And so we want to, dig in a lot further, to make parents understand that gaming is not, what you thought it was before. And it's not a bad thing. Everything is done in moderation. Your your ward, your child can earn a living, can become a superstar, can pursue a career in esports, in gaming, every now and then we put information out there to let people see the different fields they can feature in esports. You want to be a content creator, you want to be a producer, you want to be a journalist, you want to go into storytelling, you want to do sports music, gaming music and stuff. So the advocacy work is there. We also previously, I mean, before now, we have conducted educational programs, to bring a lot more information to Nigerian and to also equip them with digital skills for today. And of course, whatever we did then, will now be done on a much larger scale, and with more deliberate, action to make sure that as much as possible we spread information. Government has bought into this now, so that's a good one. We are seeing parents buy into it. We are seeing stakeholders come into the space. We are seeing a lot more young people show interest. So I mean, it's beginning to bear fruit little by little. We're not there yet, but we'll keep doing a lot more, to ensure that in a few years, we have a target of a few years. I won't give you a number of years now, to ensure that we get this industry up and running, thriving and doing excellently well. So we hope for the best. Yeah.
No, this is I think this is some of the bigger news that we've heard coming out of African esports, that a government has actually gotten on board to encourage the development of esports as almost like an on-ramp for our youth to the technological future. That's big news.
I should also quickly add, sometime early last year, the federal government actually endorsed esports as a national sport. So this is not just Lagos State government now. We also have the federal government. The Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports actually came out to do it was a conference, and he spoke there saying that esports was now a national sport in Nigeria. So what that means is that the government is fully behind esports. They are going to enact policies to support the community. We're not going to be having national teams that will be officially recognized and representing the country. We're going for official events. We'll have official tournaments and leagues also in Nigeria. So it's good whichever way you look at it. And if you now look at the fact that Lagos State has also now bought into it, it just tells you that we are on the right direction. And of course, Lagos State is the leader when it comes to virtually anything in Nigeria. Lagos is the heartbeat of this country. It's like New York for the US. Right. All brands are here. Everybody wants to be here. This is where it is actually happening. And Lagos is the most populated state in Nigeria too, with over 20 million people. So there's a lot happening here. And anything Lagos State decides to do, everybody follows suit. Lagos is the leader, and we hope to replicate everything that will be done in Lagos State in other states of the Federation. I'm a Nigerian, so we may not, we won't want to cut anybody out from what we're doing in Lagos State. Rather, we would also take it to them to say, this is what we have done in Lagos. You can also do this in your state, so that you can positively impact the youth, in your state also. And so it's a major job, and we are very, very confident that we'll be able to put it off.
What impact do you think this is going to have on other African governments? And is your the organization you mentioned earlier, the African Esports Champion, I think it's AEC, what are they have any plans to sort of run with this development in Nigeria to help spread the word to the other African governments?
I would say yes. Nigeria is undoubtedly a leader in Africa. When you talk about Africa, you can't talk about two countries without mentioning Nigeria. And we're the giants of Africa. We have always been, and this is also another way to continue to trailblaze, on the African continent. And so our expectation is that we will also introduce it into their countries. The challenges we have in Nigeria are not peculiar to us. Other African countries also have the same challenge.
Okay.
We have a very, very large youth population, and every government is looking for a way to actually equip them with skills, get them employed, create opportunities for them, create thriving environments for them to be able to develop their initiatives. So with what we're doing in Lagos and in Nigeria, it is sure to spread to other countries. Other countries will point to Nigeria and say, see what is happening in Lagos State. Their government is doing ABC, so we hope that this would also inspire them to look inwards and see what they can do for their youth population. We're happy to take the lead in that area as a state and also as a country. And I am an Africa advocate. I believe in the potential of Africa, and I want us to be able to tell our esports story from an African perspective. We don't want anybody to tell our story, because they would always be, they may not be as accurate as, when you would hear from an African, perspective. So that is what we're trying to create, to let people see what is happening here, from the horse's mouth, and we hope to do a good job at this.
Well, yeah, this is the opportunity, and this youth thing is so huge, and esports is being treated as if it is, similar to, and on a par, almost par with a Manchester United franchise in the West. This is how far it's gone. This is the potential they see in it as an industry, as sort of monetizing youth activity, right? Because let's face it, the kids will be playing video games whether we are paying them or not. So this is a way of monetizing the brands. Industry has figured out a way to monetize, the economy of our existence in a lot of ways, right? Things that we do. How do we monetize things that are natural? Text, speech, so on and so forth. Talk a little bit about your organization and what are they going to do now that your time and energy is going to be nationwide now, or citywide, regional wide. You're a government official now, and how talk about some of the stuff that you'll be that your organization will be involved in how will they manage, with you just having to spend so much more time on a broader picture.
Right. We have our calendar ready, and that should be going live sometime next week. We have series of activities to ensure that, like Davido would say, who they breathe. We'll be asking that question because the community is hungry for it. Oh, they've been expecting, and we have come up with different programs to engage as many as possible. Our primary target is the grassroots in Lagos State. The grassroots. There are young people who go to video games to play games, pay to play. Sometimes it eats my heart that these guys spend the little money they have to play video games. Could actually have money, get your career, that giving back to them for the many years of investments, so to speak, that they have done. So that's is to ensure a lot more female WIG, WIG, not referring to the WIG, some genders where, we're talking about women in gaming, WIG. We want to bring a lot more women into gaming. We've spotted some of them, who are, who play certain video games, but we'll be dedicating some events, to the female gender exclusively, just to bring them a lot more of them into the gaming environment here in Nigeria. Aside that, also we're coming up with school events where schools can take part in it. Schools at all levels, primary, secondary, even tertiary, universities, can also take part in these events just to make sure that esports and gaming is prevalent. It's been there all along. Like you said, whether we pay these kids or not, they play them for playing video games. If it's not a console, it's a PC. If it's not a PC, it's a mobile device. So that these games are there. So why not just create that environment where they can all come together and play for a cause? Where they can play for revenue, where they can play and find fulfillment. Where they don't see gaming anymore as something that you play to while away time and it's not a rewarding venture. No, that is what we're trying to change. And we will get there. We definitely will get there. All stakeholders from every level will understand what gaming is and the benefits that come with it, and we can get them to invest a lot more resources into that industry.
Now, speaking of which, on the development side, are you guys can you talk a little bit about what's going on in Nigeria's development community, gaming development community, in terms of seeing some more African scenarios and characters and storylines and landscapes, and I'd love to see a Africa Call of Duty in the Congo.
All right. So one thing that we are blessed with a lot in this part of the world is our culture and traditions. Even though there are so many tribes and ethnic groups, each of them have their own stories. They have their own cultures. They have their own histories. And when you look out there, you see that many of the games that you see being played are actually kind of telling the stories of what probably happened in the past. Talk about Call of Duty, for instance. Call of Duty just talks about what happens on the war front. There are so many wars that we have seen in the past, the Iraq war, Kuwait and the likes. And we have the same here. We watch Marvel movies a lot and we see Thor, who they call the God of Thunder, and his character is not in so many games. But here in Nigeria also, we also have characters. In fact, there is a particular god who is reputed to be the God of Thunder also, and it's called Shango. So why can't that character also be in a video game? And the amazing thing is we are seeing game developers who are also now telling those stories. There are a couple of games that came out in the last 2 years, our history built around our culture. But there was a particular fighting game I saw somewhere, which was a game about the gods, fighting, and each of these gods had different, that they could use against their opponents. So imagine the god of thunder fighting against the god of iron, so that you could strike the other guy with your thunder, and this guy could respond, by conjuring a metal device and using it to attack. So we're beginning to see these guys come up. And ultimately, what I personally want to see is these games actually achieve AAA status, and so that they can have worldwide, appeal. We can have millions of downloads. It's also a way of, giving people, a window to be able to peep into what is happening in this part of the world. Many people don't know about Nigeria. They don't know about Africa. Some people even think Africa is a country. Africa, I have said this hundreds of times. Africa is a continent, of about 55 countries, But when we have some of these stories that we can tell like that, we help to educate people, to shed more light about Africa. Many of the stories that the media carry out there about Africa are not exactly what is happening in Africa. They're not everything that's happening. There are so many beautiful things, happening in Africa, and we can use video game those stories. So our game developers are beginning to enter into that phase. And with the advent, with the increasing engagement, I know for sure that we'll be seeing a lot more content in that area. Recently also, I saw a game that was mimicking the some of the security challenges that we have suffered, in some regions in Nigeria where we
Nice.
have these, what do you call them now? Some of these groups who want to rebel against the government, they want to fight against the government, and they are causing unrest. So there's a game like that where you can be maybe a government official, just the same way you would have in Call of Duty, where
Wow.
you are either a government agency or you are I can't remember what they're called now. So you can do all of that, and you can better appreciate what is happening around this part of the
That's
world.
right.
So yeah,
Right.
we hope to see all of that happen even some more.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a beautiful way to get the youth, make the youth more conscious of their own environment. And Africa is a
Yeah,
continent, and I think that message not only for foreigners but even for indigenous Africans, they need to understand that you're in Nigeria, but that's not all of Africa. There are people in Ghana who don't know what's going on in Ethiopia, who haven't heard of the Tigray region, and who don't know that Tanzania is going through something.
agreed. Yeah,
So these are the kinds of things that open up the continent to others and to ourselves as well. Now, Manny, I know you're a busy man and you got a lot to do,
absolutely.
but in conclusion, talk to us a little bit about what you think, what you'll see, I guess, out there in African esports over the next 3 to 5 years. What do you expect to happen?
Already we are seeing an explosion, but we're going to see a lot more of those, bigger ones. Um, I can speak about esports leaders across Africa. Uh, in Nigeria, for instance, every now and then I see a new team being formed. I see esports tournaments being organized. I see a lot more brands coming to support esports events. I did an event last year, and we had a phone company actually provide mobile devices. So every person who came to play at that event actually played on a brand new high-end device. You know, we saw energy drinks come to support the event. We saw, in fact, the event was even shown on cable TV. And so it tells you that brands are beginning to jump in. In the next 3 years, I expect to have a thriving industry, you know. And to give you some context, we have an industry called Nollywood. Nollywood is a movie industry, and Nollywood is the second largest movie industry in the entire world. I need to put that caveat there by volume. It's even bigger than Hollywood in the US, you know, and Nollywood is the second largest employer of labor after agriculture in Nigeria.
Wow.
But you look at the fact that in that industry, the percentage of the actors is actually small compared to the supporting
Text.
sectors.
Yeah.
Talk about the costume creators, the writers, the producers, the editors, directors. So we're seeing the same thing for esports also, where the gaming community will be there, the gamers are there, but you have so we're going to be seeing a lot more of that happening. We're going to be seeing people going full-time into esports to do one thing or the other. We're going to be seeing a lot of careers, a lot of jobs being created. We're going to be seeing a lot of tournaments, bringing countries together. We're going to be seeing a lot of governments also jumping into esports. Over the past 1 or 2 years, I personally know a few African countries that have actually created a formal federation, authorized by their government, to manage esports in their country. So, and the pace is going to increase. It's not going to reduce, because it can only just get better. The only way is up. And so we are going to be seeing a scenario where Africa takes its place, on the global sports space. We've had international events, and African players have gone there and left their mark. PUBG PMCO was held recently, and a team from Nigeria actually came first. In Africa. So it tells you that where the opportunity is given to Africa, Africa will, not may, Africa will dominate the world of esports globally. Thank you.
Well, with that, Manuel, I want to thanks a lot for joining us, man, and providing us with a lot of insight into what's going on in African esports in general, but certainly what's happening in Nigeria. And we hope to continue talking and talking with you again very shortly. Lots of good things are going on, folks. Thanks for joining us.
So, guys, thank you for making our time to join this conversation today. I hope to be back some other time to discuss further on esports. But in the meantime, you can catch me online at Noel on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Noel is PNOOELL. Thank you. I'll see you some other time.